Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Star Micronics webinar. This month we'll be discussing our CloudPRNT printers, everything from kitchen printers to retail to our new MC prints. This month we have with us John Levin, our Product Integration Manager here at Star. Please leave all questions till the end. You can enter them in the side chat bar at any time, but we're going to hold off answering them until the end. Also, after the presentation, we'll be sending out an email with the recording and contact information for John if you have any other questions. So, John, take it away.
Thank you, Kyle, and thank you everyone who joined us today to learn about our next-gen CloudPRNT printing technology. So today I'm going to give you a little introduction to CloudPRNT, kind of what is it, how does it work. We're going to talk about who we designed this for, who can really benefit from the CloudPRNT technology, and then of course which Star printers out of our lineup are CloudPRNT compatible and when you would want to use each one of those printers. So without further ado, this is kind of the 1,000-mile overview, but the current situation in cloud point of sale or online ordering is typically there's a device in the retail store or the restaurant. That might be a tablet, a PC, a Mac, it doesn't matter, but that's communicating with the software company's server. Maybe it's syncing or it's a web-based application. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The point is today, that local device is communicating to the printer locally. So each device is communicating to the printer, whether it's connected via USB or over the network or Bluetooth. Again, doesn't really matter. So that's the current situation and what most cloud point of sale or online ordering setups look like. So with CloudPRNT, simply we kind of detach that. So the CloudPRNT printers actually communicate directly with the server, just like the tablet or the PC or Mac would. So now the printer communicates directly with the server rather than communicating from the local device. So how does it work? You would think that maybe we push a print job down to the printer, but it's actually the other way around. The printer is loaded with or configured with a URL that exists on the server, and then the printer polls that server at a user-defined interval. So the default is 5 seconds, but you can go as quick as every 1 second. The printer is going to poll the server looking for a new print job. So we don't host the server, but we give the protocol, which is our CloudPRNT protocol, which allows you to communicate from the software company's server to the printer. So it's a REST-based architecture. We use HTTP requests and JSON. So it's a very familiar scheme for communicating with the printer. We did that intentionally so it can be is broadly applicable and easy to use by as many people as possible. So how it works is the printer will poll the server, look for a print job. If there's a print job, it will print it. It will provide a print confirmation, and it's also going to provide its status to the server. So is the lid on the printer open? Is it out of paper? Or is it offline, etc. So again, we designed this to be very flexible. So because we don't host the service, we designed it in a way that you could build this on any architecture. So however your server is, whatever language it's built on, whatever architecture, you could use the CloudPRNT technology with that server environment. So who benefits from CloudPRNT? Who did we really design this for? There's a couple key ones that stand out. One is online ordering, which was kind of top of mind when we developed this technology. And then very quickly, we realized there's a lot of benefit to web-based solutions, such as point of sale, web-based point of sale solutions as well. So in the online ordering world, orders, just by nature, the orders are already coming from the cloud. Typically, there's a tablet in the restaurant, and then you can optionally print an order to one of our printers from that tablet. That's typically how it works. So in those cases, the tablet is, one, it's an added expense, but it's also a potential point of failure. So there's a little bit of risk there. In the web-based point of sale world, there's a great desire to be device, browser, and operating system agnostic. So, being able to operate on all platforms without having to develop applications individually on each platform. But communicating from a browser to any kind of hardware really can be challenging depending on the device, the operating system, the browser, et cetera. We get a lot of complaints about printing from a browser on a PC when you're using the driver, for example. The Windows just seems not to be designed to format to a receipt printer. So there's always, depending on the browser, potential formatting issues. So let's dive in a little bit deeper on each of these. So online ordering, again, today you're typically ordering from your own device, from home or from your office or wherever you happen to be, wherever you want to eat. That order is going up to the ordering services cloud, and then they dole that out to the appropriate restaurant. So usually there is a tablet in the restaurant. That tablet, if the restaurant so chooses, is then sending the order locally to one of our printers to print out that order, so you can take it to the kitchen, increase order accuracy, all of those lovely things. So with CloudPrint, instead of the server talking to only to the local tablet in the restaurant, it's also talking to the printer directly, which is really nice because now the order printing isn't dependent on the tablet anymore. So the tablet becomes optional. So, what happens if your tablet gets dumped in the fryer or dropped on the floor and it's no longer operational, right? Today, no more orders coming in. That's a big problem. So with CloudPrint, if the tablet fails, the order still prints. Gives you greater flexibility in where you're going to put that tablet and printer, because they're not necessarily joined by Bluetooth or something like that anymore, as is typical today. And even if you'd like, you can save cost and get rid of the tablet entirely and just have the printer there spitting out orders in the restaurant. So either way, you can, whether you want to keep the tablet or not, CloudPrint can give a lot of value in this kind of online ordering environment. So let's talk a little bit about web-based point of sale, because this is where we've really seen a lot of potential lately for the CloudPRNT technology. So as I mentioned, ISVs really want to build applications now that can run on any device. There's so many devices out there: iPads, Androids, PCs, Mac, everything. But they want to be able to deploy applications on that in a timely manner at an affordable cost. It's very expensive to have iOS developers, Android developers, all of these developers on staff in maintaining all of these applications. So web-based point of sale is very attractive because you can kind of design, develop once, and then it doesn't matter, whatever device that has a browser can run your software. So, fortunately, with modern web standards and browser specs, applications that run on our browser can be really nearly as functional as natively built applications. So we're at a point today where you can really build very, very functional applications that run in a browser. And then also, web developers are very common. The standards have been out there for a long time, although they've certainly grown and developed over the years. But because web developers are so common, oftentimes you can develop web applications in a very cost-effective manner. And again, you're only developing once versus for every platform. But there have been a lot of challenges when it comes to communicating with hardware from web-based applications. So the challenge today is, how do I do that? So on a PC, Windows PC, Mac, Linux, we've been doing that for a lot of years. We've had web-based applications, especially in the service industry where you're doing scheduling and things like that. They like to run their web-based applications on nice big Mac or PC screens so you can see your calendar and all of that. But typically that's done with the driver, and then the driver and the that operating system's inbuilt printing system that has print management and all of that. That's all handling the communication with the printer. So that's very easy to develop. That's how things are typically done today. But as I mentioned, there's challenges around formatting, setup. There always seems to be a lot of headaches when you're trying to print through the driver to a receipt format printer from a browser. But that's great for PC, Mac, and Linux. But everyone wants iPads. Everyone wants tablets today. What if you want to have your software be flexible across all of these platforms? So what do you do? What's the technology for that? So of course, we're in a CloudPRNT webinar, so of course CloudPRNT is a solution. But another solution from Star that you may be familiar with that's been on the market a little bit longer is our WebPrint technology. And a lot of people get these two technologies confused, so I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about each one. Each one has its plus sides and its things you got to look out for. So our WebPrint technology, this was really the first web printing solution from Star, besides using the driver on Windows or something like that. So we really solved the problem of how do I print from any device with a browser to a Star printer with the WebPrint technology. WebPrint uses a JavaScript-based SDK, so very easy to implement into a web-based application. People are very familiar with developing around JavaScript. A key point with WebPrint is that you are printing locally on the network from the browser on whatever device you're using. So that's a very important point. You are not talking to a remote server. It's all happening locally. You are, in this case, printing to the printer's IP address. If ISV developing a point-of-sale application that uses WebPrint in their printer setup, they're going to need to have a method to import or input that IP address. Very important. A big caveat with WebPrint, which is becoming more and more challenging as browsers increase their security and all of that, is that you have to manage SSL certificates on the printer when you're printing from HTTPS sites. And of course, we're talking point of sale oftentimes here. In all cases, really, you're talking secure sites, so that can be a bit of a bear to manage those SSL certificates. Certainly, in a small business, it might be a little bit challenging for the typical SMB business owner to manage this type of stuff. So with CloudPRNT, of course, it's a very different technology. As I mentioned, you're printing from the server directly to the printer. So that server could be in the cloud or it even could be on site. Doesn't matter. One really nice thing with CloudPRNT over many printing technologies, WebPrint, our SDKs, other technologies, is that all of your print management, job queuing, spooling can be managed centrally. So that's really nice when you're talking about a location, imagine a restaurant where you've got receipt printers, kitchen printers, lots of device sending print jobs to a kitchen printer, etc. It's really nice to be able to manage that centrally, and then dole out print jobs accordingly. That was one of the in kind of the old way of doing things, where you had an on-site server in all of your big retailers or restaurants. One advantage to that was that you could manage all of your print jobs through a central server. So with CloudPRNT, you can kind of do the same do the same thing, but it's managed in the cloud, so it's a lot more robust. Unlike WebPrint, the IP address of the printer doesn't matter with CloudPRNT. So, you don't have to worry about setting a static IP address, or don't have to worry about the IP address of the printer at all. As long as it's on an internet-connected network and can reach the server being used to serve the print jobs that CloudPRNT is implemented on, because the printer pulls the server, the IP address of the printer doesn't matter as long as it has the correct URL to point to the right server, the right place on that server. It's going to work just fine. So you could actually take a printer, out of the restaurant, stick it in your house or something, and still print to it. So very easy to manage from that perspective. You don't have to worry about a lot of networking things. You can use DHCP on your router to give out the IP address and be confident that it's going to be stable. just because the way this is CloudPrint is built, the nature of this technology, you don't have to manage SSL certificates on the printer when you're printing from an HTTPS site because it's coming from the server, not locally. So that's a really big benefit when it comes to setup. And the all current Star CloudPRNT capable printers happen to also support WebPrint. So it's a really nice upgrade path. If you're using WebPrint today, moving to the CloudPRNT printers are a good move because it's still going to work with WebPrint, it's still going to work with your software today, but you're going to have that upgrade path going forward. So, when I work with software partners of Stars that are doing web-based applications, I tend to recommend CloudPRNT even over WebPrint today. WebPrint definitely has its place and is a good technology, but CloudPRNT is easy to build on. It just seems to be a little bit more robust and a little easier to set up. Let's talk about each individual printer series that is CloudPRNT capable. What is available to you if you're using this technology, and when you would want to use each printer series. In a typical application, you may use a combination of printer series, but you can be confident with CloudPRNT that you'll be able to easily make them all work. So of course, the first one is our latest series of printers that hopefully everyone's familiar with, but if not, it's our MC Print series of printers. With this series, our goal is to make the printer much more attractive than a typical printer that we're used to. So it's really designed for that kind of modern point of sale world, the modern retail and restaurant aesthetic. It's multi-interface, nice design, all of that, front paper loading. It's splash proof and insect proof, so it's really great for restaurant environments. Also has hub functionality, so you can connect up to 3 peripherals to each of these printers, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a few slides. So this is a really nice new platform for Star, and of course, as I mentioned, supports both CloudPRNT and WebPrint. The next one is our TSB654-2 CloudPRNT printer. This is one that's been on the market a bit longer. This is our first CloudPRNT capable model. Again, of course, also supports WebPrint. This is a thermal receipt printer. We also have a version that's a sticky printer, meaning it prints linerless labels that is available with this CloudPRNT interface. It's very high speed. You can do a few things with this model that you can't necessarily do on the MC Print series. For example, this one supports configuration and updating of firmware with a simple USB memory stick. So you load a configuration file or the firmware onto the memory stick, plug it into the USB port on the back of the printer, turn the printer on, and boom, your printer's all configured and ready to go with the latest firmware. So for a deployment point of view, this is a really nice way to do that, especially when you're deploying en masse. Another nice thing that this series has that the MC Print doesn't today is Wi-Fi capability. So we support a selection of Wi-Fi USB adapters that, again, you plug into the USB port on the back of the printer. Then you can configure the Wi-Fi settings either through the printer's web configuration interface or through that USB memory stick configuration. So of course, I always recommend hardwiring Ethernet when you can, but it's not always possible to run cable or not always financially feasible. Wi-Fi is certainly necessary in a lot of instances. With this model, you are able to do that. Of course, we have our TSB743II CloudPRNT. This one is also a direct thermal printer, uses the same interface as the TSB654 model I mentioned on the previous slide. So it has all the same USB memory stick, Wi-Fi capability, support that the TSB654 printer does. But this one has a couple unique features, and this one is I really recommend when you're doing either tickets, maybe a movie ticket or a concert ticket, something like that, where it's on thicker paper, or you're using labels. So this printer is a really good label printer. It's got the black mark label and ticket support, so it can tell whether the label or ticket starts and stops. For example, if you have pre-printed tickets that you need to align properly. It's got rear paper feed, so you can reduce the top margin on a label when you're trying to print onto a small label. You don't want to have very much top margin. And it's nice because you can use either receipts or labels on this printer. So if you want to standardize on one printer series, you can do that. So another great printer. I forgot to mention on both this model and the previous, the TSP 654 model, you can buy the wireless adapter on your own. That buy them through Amazon. We support a selection of them that are very affordable and easy to find online. Or as a convenience, we do sell versions of these printers with Star part numbers where we include the wireless adapter in the box as a convenience. So typically you're going to see a W at the end of the printer name in that case. Of course, reach out to us if you need more information on specific part numbers or anything like that. We can get you all set up. Then there's the TSP 847II CloudPrint series. This is very similar to the TSP 743 model I just discussed, in that it has the label, ticket capability, all of that. What's special about this series is its wide format. So where a typical, all the other printers I mentioned were either 58 millimeter or 80 millimeter, which is your standard receipt width, this is 112 millimeter, about 4.4 inches wide. It's adjustable, but this printer is really nice when you want to print something that's going to have more information on it than a typical receipt would. So maybe it's an invoice. When I have my lawn done, for example, I have a printout from one of these printers that tells me all the things they did to my lawn that day. This type of printer is really good for that. It's really good for replacing an 8.5 by 11 printer, condensing the information onto a smaller form factor, but not too small. And then because of all the benefits of the thermal technology, you're able to save a lot of cost there. So if you have something wider, contracts, invoices, this is a really good printer for that. Really good for things like shipping labels, because it's over 4 inches wide. You could do like a 4 by 6 inch shipping label. So a lot of applications like that. This one is the one you'd want to go with. Of course, we also have a kitchen printer with the CloudPRNT technology, very important. So our SP742 series is our Impact kitchen printer series. So this one is extremely popular in the restaurant industry, very reliable, has an internal power supply, so you don't have to worry about where am I going to put the power brick. The printer is just a tank. It's the kind of printer that just lasts forever. So again, it has all that same functionality as the last few printers I mentioned, the USB memory stick configuration. It does have the Wi-Fi support if needed. Of course, in kitchens, I really recommend against that. Always hardwire when you can, but it is there if you need it. And of course, I mentioned briefly peripherals. On all of these models that I mentioned with CloudPRNT, you are also able to drive some peripherals. So on all these models with CloudPRNT, we support a 1D barcode scanner from Star, a Zebra 2D, 1D and 2D barcode scanner, a customer-facing price display, which is a legal requirement in places like California. Of course, you can connect a cash drawer like you can with every other printer. But the important thing here is you're able to drive all these peripherals through the printer. They're USB connected, so they're affordable versus a Bluetooth peripheral or something like that. But you're able to drive them all from the cloud, just like you can the printer using our CloudPRNT protocol. So the printer really becomes the hub for much of your other point of sale hardware, allowing you to have kind of a very modern IoT environment, all driven from your server. So a very nice way to build a modern store peripheral point of sale peripheral technology portfolio. So that's CloudPRNT. I'm sure many of you have questions about it. So let's take it back over to Kyle, who will start with some of the questions that you guys have.
Great. Thank you, John. So we did have a few come in while you were presenting. The first one we had was, can the server be on premises, or does it have to connect to something outside of the store?
Yeah, so it absolutely can be on premise. In fact, one of our first big installations using CloudPRNT was, in fact, running off of the on-premise server. It was just easier for them to run it that way because that server already existed. So yeah, it's the printer doesn't really care where that server is, or doesn't necessarily even know, as long as you can put a URL on, inject that into the printer's configuration, whether that URL is pointing to a local network or the cloud is fine.
Speaking of servers, is there anything that would have to be modified to the current firewall, their port settings, security to implement CloudPRNT?
Yeah, typically no, because you're not pushing anything down. It's the printer is reaching outside of the network. Yeah, generally those things are not anything that you have to worry about, which is a real benefit of the CloudPRNT technology. Before we developed this, we had, I'd heard of some of our online ordering partners, for example, who are doing all kinds of crazy networking stuff to expose a printer's IP address to the cloud so that they could push print jobs down to it. So this is a much better way to manage that, much more secure way. You're not putting holes in your network or anything like that.
So while the printer gathers the data from the cloud, does Star see any of the data? There's an issue with security, maybe?
So it's a very good question. In this case, we chose not to host this server. So we provide the protocol or the method of printing. And of course, anybody who's interested, we're happy to provide all the technical documentation on that. But is not going through Star's server or any service from Star in any way. This is entirely managed by the solution provider, which if you're the online ordering company or you're the point of sale software developer, that would be you. So you would manage this on your server. And then it's completely within your control, which is something that was very important to us. And it was very important to us also to build this in a way where whatever your server looked like, or whatever your comfort was, whatever programming language your server is built on, this would work with that.
Okay. We had a question here about, are you able to control the cache drawer, like eject from the web app? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So really any of those peripherals I mentioned that are connected to the printer, the barcode scanner, the customer-facing price display, and the cache drawer, you would be able to control that using our CloudPRNT protocol from the cloud, from the server.
So he questioned about a web app like Chrome. Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter, because everything's coming from the cloud or from the server. It doesn't matter what the store's, how do I put this, the store's interface is. So the store, it could be a native application on an iPad generating, prompting the print jobs. It really what the merchant is looking at doesn't matter, because the print job is all coming from the server. So yeah, it could be a Chromebook, could be a web application running on any device, could be a native application. Again, doesn't matter. We build it to be very flexible that way.
Okay. So there's a question about the 847 II. Does it also support smaller labels, like 2-inch or 3-inch?
Yeah, so it is adjustable. So yeah, you can do smaller labels on there. So if you're looking for a printer where you can do big labels and small labels that you're going to be adjusting it, that would probably be the printer for you. If you're only going to be doing smaller labels, you might want to look at the TSP 743 series, just because you're going to save a little bit of money if you don't need the ability to print the bigger labels.
Okay. Is it possible for a cloud printer CloudPrint printer to be connected to my point of sale and CloudPrint at the same time?
Yes, so you can do that. So you could print locally and have the printer pull the cloud the server as well. So yes.
Okay. Is CloudPrint really fast enough for both point of sale and cloud based?
Yeah, so I would say it definitely is, and we've got quite a few users, partners that are doing web-based point of sale who are using this technology. Um, typically in the environments I see, web-based point of sale are not going to be your really high-volume QSR type environments today, for the most part. Uh, those tend to be kind of native on-site applications. But in any case, yeah, especially for the environments that this is typically going into, it's certainly more than fast enough.
Um, is it possible to use a Wi-Fi dongle on the new MC prints?
It is not, unfortunately.
Okay. Does CloudPrint offer any analytics or intelligent features, uh, or capabilities to add to the point of sale?
So I'll separate Star Cloud from Cloud Print. So with Cloud Print, that doesn't go through us. So that's completely under the control of the software solution developer. So if they want to build some services on top of that, that would be under their control. However, all of these printers, because they're cloud connectable, you can also create a Star Micronics Cloud account and connect the printer to that account as well. So you're going to be able to connect it to our device management service. You're going to be able to enable things like our all receipts digital receipt service, enable things like our promo print promotion printing service, where you can design promotions in the cloud, schedule them out, and have them print at the bottom of each receipt. So because these printers are all cloud connectable, I highly recommend anyone who's using Cloud Print, the printer already is then connected to the network. Definitely check out and enable some of these free services from Star, because they add a lot more value to your printer. So yes, yes, absolutely. With these printers, you can enable all sorts of value-added services.
So this one seems like a little more technical. The ISV, I believe, is a web-based point of sale. How do they authenticate which company printers are contacting their server?
That's a good question. I note their name. I'll get back to it. I'll get someone more technical than
Okay.
myself.
Yeah.
But we can uniquely identify each printer by things like MAC address. But there's some other authentication things that we have built in. But that's a little beyond my expertise.
Okay. A little more detail needed. Yeah. Is there specific cache drawers that work? Does it need to be USB or DK is okay?
Yeah, so it would be the DK or the printer-driven cache drawers, not the USB connected cache drawers, which are about twice the price anyway. So, yeah, so it would be, of course, we would love for you to use Star cache drawers because they are nice quality, affordably priced, and they come with the cable in the box with the drawer, so it's going to interface properly with your Star printer. But really, any cache drawer that is compatible with any of our printers, you can use in this solution.
Is it also possible to control the RJ12 port? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so for the cache drawer, yep.
Okay. What is the minimum polling interval supported for CloudPrint?
Minimum is 1 second. So default is 5 seconds. Minimum is 1.
Okay. For the Star Micronics cloud services, it's not one bundle. There has to be separate signups for each service. Is that correct?
So how it works is you sign up, you create an account for Star Micronics Cloud, which is free, and that's going to basically say, allow you to associate a particular printer at a particular location with the cloud. And then what happens is you log in and you've got a dashboard. And on that dashboard, you're going to have various services that are available. The ones from Star are free. So we've got all receipts, the device management, promo print that I mentioned. There's a couple other ones from third parties that are able to partake in this technology to add additional value. So there's an analytics package and also a digital signage package from Sofitar, one of our partners. So there's a lot of things to check out, and that'll continue to grow. But you'll see all these services that are available on your dashboard, and then you can subscribe to the ones that you want to use, free or otherwise. So yeah, we kind of put it all in one place, but we don't want to shove it all down your throat. We give you the flexibility to use or not use whatever you'd like. And then you can, from that same site, you go and set it all up, configure it, design your promotions, etc.
Right, they get to pick and choose what they really want to use or not.
Exactly. Yep.
So does this CloudPRNT service remove that annoying dialog box from Windows and Macs? The print.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So that was a big thing. So I mentioned today, most people are running web-based applications in point of sale and things like that. They're typically running in a browser on a PC or a Mac, and then they're using the printer driver and the inbuilt Windows printing system, et cetera. So yeah, you're going through the dialog box. You have the formatting issues, all of that. With CloudPRNT, none of that. It's all managed by you. You have total control over the printing experience. So you can have printing be automatic at the close of the transaction. You can have a button on on the page that says print however you want it to be, whatever you want that experience to be. We give you that flexibility. Yeah, absolutely.
This might be a little more technical as well. Is it possible to pull the MAC address from the printer locally so they know which printer is connected where?
Well, yeah, there are ways to do that, but yeah, let me reach out offline to understand the exact what the request is, and we'll address that.
So I got one last one here. The software uses Star's WebPrint technology, and customers are buying the 654 II WebPrint. What model should they now use to be compatible for future upgrades to CloudPRNT?
Sure, that's a good question. So a lot of, as I mentioned in the webinar, the WebPrint technology was kind of our first web printing technology. That TSB 654 WebPrint printer was our first, web capable printer, not necessarily cloud capable printer, but web print capable printer. That printer is now going end of life for that interface in favor of the CloudPRNT version of that, which has the same functionality and of course much more with CloudPRNT and all of that. So my answer would be if you're using the TSB 654 WebPrint now, anybody using that should take a look at both of the TSB 654 II CloudPRNT model and the MC Print printers, because both of those support WebPrint, so they should work as a drop-in replacement for the TSB 654 WebPrint model that you're using now. But they also have, then it allows you the upgrade path of moving to CloudPRNT if you choose to do that at some point in the future, whether it's today or down the line. It's better to start getting the CloudPRNT capable and cloud connectable printers out in the field, especially since the WebPrint, the older WebPrint series of printers, is going end of life in favor of that new interface. So, if anyone has any questions about that or needs more information or needs to test one of the newer models to replace that, please let me know. If you've got existing TSB 654 WebPrint printers in the field and you want to move to the CloudPRNT technology, you can buy the CloudPRNT interface on its own and kind of field upgrade those printers. So again, if you need some help doing that, please reach out and we'll help you out. Do we have any more questions? All right, I'm not sure if I got booted off or if Kyle got booted off, but unless there's anything else, thank you everyone for joining our webinar. We'll look forward to speaking with you in the next session. Thank you very much, and feel free to reach out to me anytime. My contact information is up. It's my direct line and email address. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much. And to those of you who had some more technical questions that I need to dive into a little bit more deeply, we'll reach out to you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Bye. Yeah,